Hi there, welcome to my channel. This is the Yezro charging station for the PS5 DualSense controller. If you're like me, I always like to have at least 2 controllers charged up, especially during longer streams or play sessions, so that I can swap out the dead controller when a fully charged one is needed. The DualSense controller charges fairly quickly on its own, but this little charging station helps make sure that I always have a controller charged up and ready to go. It also doubles as a controller stand or a little storage for your controller to keep within your gaming setup to make everything look nice and neat, and everything is colored within the PS5's color theme, so I appreciate that greatly. But let's get price out of the way. As of the upload date of this video, this charging station cost about $21.23, and surprisingly there's a 50% off coupon right now, but I'm not too sure how long that will last. Also, don't mind the box. Amazon shipped it in one of those plastic envelopes, so it got a little beat up on its way to me. Other than that, it's a nicely designed box. I honestly expected one of those typical brown cardboard boxes most of these Amazon third-party sellers package their items in, but this is a nice change. Really informative box. But here's the actual item, and the only added accessory is an AC adapter. So for those hoping it came with a micro USB or USB-C charging cable, that answers that question. Here's a quick look at the instructions. They're pretty straightforward and simple, but as soon as I get done with these instructions, I'm going to take a closer look at the power source. And just to get some info out of the way, the power source is a 5-volt 2-amp adapter. So this is one of the reasons why I can charge 2 controllers at the same time within the same time frame of the DualSense's fast charging capabilities, but rather than using a USB-C cable to charge one, this obviously charges 2 within that same time frame, so it's pretty convenient, especially if you're like me and you're a multiple controller owner. At this point, I have 3 DualSense controllers, and you'll understand why when I show them off to charge them, because we all know there's only one color at this moment, but mine are a bit special. But the charging station itself looks really clean and matches the PS5 nicely. I can't wait to get it set up next to the PS5, but underneath there's like these rubber stoppers, but I guess it's more for protection than stopping or gripping because it's pretty slippery on my desk, so just to make sure it doesn't scuff up your table, I guess. Taking a look at the charging pins, apparently this has contact charging, so you don't really have to like prop it in there. You can just place it on and it should charge right away, just as long as those points have contact with the bottom connection points of the controller. The LED lights are right there on the front, but here's a closer look, and I think the only thing that's going to protrude just a bit is that little plastic pin, and I think that's what kind of keeps the controller stationary. But as I mentioned, it matches the PlayStation 5 perfectly. Look how nice that looks. I'm going to try to make some room on there. If not, I'm going to have to move my PlayStation 5 so I can get all of its accessories set up. But aesthetically, it looks really nice and matches the PlayStation 5. So let me get the charging station powered up and get through some of the numbers. This can charge 2 DualSense controllers in a little under 3 hours, so it's on par with the usual charging time of using that packed in USB-C cable with the PS5 to plug in the DualSense into the console itself. But thank goodness my little surge protector matches everything as well too, so it looks pretty nice and neat. So here are the LED lights. Green means it's ready to go, but as soon as you put a controller on there, it should turn red. Just gonna test it out one more time just to see if it works, and it's powering on and it's working. So once again, the LED indicator lights turn red when a controller is charging and needs a charge, and it turns green once it's completed. So I mentioned earlier that my controllers are a bit special because I customized the lower faceplates, and this was an easy process to swap out. For those interested in seeing that video, click the card above. But I'm really excited to try out these contact charging points, because if it does work as advertised, and it does, look, it's turning red, and I didn't have to put that much force into there at all. I just placed the controller on there and it started charging, because I've had charging stations in the past that charge the controller from the bottom, and you really have to jam that controller in there until it plugs in and connects. And I've scratched a bunch of controllers charging my controllers that way, and I kind of stopped using that charging station. But this one's really easy. You just place your controller on there. That plastic pin that I mentioned earlier kind of lines up perfectly where that PlayStation logo is on the controller, and as soon as you get that lined up, you can just drop it in there and everything starts connecting and charging. It's really simple. So let me get a second controller, and this one happens to be rose gold. This one's Sugarberry Smash's PS5 controller, and I love how this is a bridge design, so both controllers go back to back, and the back end won't be seen as much as the front end. So if you want to display a better looking controller, put that one on the front. So the back end has the AC adapter port and the front end has the LED indicator light port. So I took off Sugarberry Smashes and it turned green again because there's nothing there, but as soon as I put it back on, it should turn red. So let me get both of these off just to show off from a different angle what it looks like when I try to connect the pins. The main thing is just lighting up that plastic pin that protrudes the most in the middle. It lines up where the PlayStation symbol is, the microphone mute, and then the microphone hole itself. But if you're familiar with the DualSense controller and you know where to plug in your headset, that's essentially the hole where that plastic pin goes, partially into just to keep the controller in place. So the only downfall with contact charging is that any little nudge or movement will cause the controller to stop charging. So I'd suggest to put this on a level surface where you're not going to bump it or have a chance to nudge it. But when everything's nice and lined up and in place, it is a pretty cool setup, really easy to grab and go and start playing, or to place and drop and start charging. It's a really easy, simple system because, as mentioned, I have had chargers where you have to charge from the bottom, and trying to get that kind of propped in there and jammed in there really does have the chance to mess up your controllers. Because if you've seen some of my PS4 DualShock controllers, I have a few DualShocks with scuffed and scratched bottom portions and a couple with loose headphone ports because of older design charging stations. This one alleviates all of those issues for me, and I love how easy it is to grab and go with this charging station. So far everything is working flawlessly, but I say this in every video: if any catastrophic failure occurs, I will make an update video highlighting any malfunctions. But knock on wood, whatever it may be, hopefully I don't have to make one for this item because I really like it and I give it my WoW VJs LTR thumbs up. For those interested, I'll leave a link down in the video's description, and for those of you who like this video, make sure to check out these others. And if you really enjoyed spending time with me today, please consider subscribing. And if you want to support this channel just a little bit more, please make sure to check out that join button down below to see my channel memberships and perks, and maybe you can see your name at the end or beginning of my next video. I'll see you all soon. Bye.